the administration of Ontario Airport. Why doesn't LA let Inland Valley authorities have a shot at reviving our airport?
Well, I've tried to turn a new page on this, and I agree. There's no reason we need to own that airport. It's not in our city, and we're very open to selling that or to figuring out some agreement to lease that.
But haven't been able to agree on a price. Isn't that pretty much the bottom line?
And, we have an obligation to make sure for our taxpayers and for our airport that we can't just be given away. But the decline hasn't been, I believe, because of bad management, although I've been very aggressive in looking at bringing new flights there. I'll be in Mexico next month talking to airlines there to try to bring a flight to Ontario. It's because that when you talk to the airlines, the industry is consolidated and they increasingly can't fly or don't want to fly out of Ontario. So we have beautiful facilities waiting. We don't lose money there, which is why we can't just give it away. But at the same time, I'd be very open to those folks in Ontario, in the Inland Empire, controlling that. I think that makes total sense, and so hopefully we can come to terms at the table.
So it's just it's a price?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to another viewer question. Will traffic lights in Los Angeles, particularly the west side, ever be computerized to change based on traffic congestion? Or will the lights always be on timers? It frustrates me when my commute is extended by changing lights with minimal traffic flowing in the crossing direction. This is from David Allen of Los Angeles.
Well, David, very few lights actually are just on timers anymore. We have a dynamic real-time system. It's the most advanced in the country. Only a few lights that don't have sensors in the street are on timers still. Unfortunately, we have a lot of traffic, so even in the best days with the best computers and the best sensors, it won't necessarily create a free flow. But those change dynamically as traffic is worse. It changes the timing and it gives those streets with the worst traffic more green lights. That happens every single day, real time in LA. In fact, a study that we've done showed that it reduced what would have been out there by about 15% the traffic, just simply by having this system. Traffic's still really bad. We have to look at transit. We have to look at building more housing, but there aren't many on timers anymore.
Mr. Mayor, we are going to talk about transit, so stay with us. Right after this, we'll talk about that train to LAX.
You're watching Eyewitness Newsmakers.
Let's get back to Ask the Mayor questions. This one from Thomas Michael Kelly of Thousand Oaks, Mr. Mayor, who asks, do you have plans to find a solution for light rail to LAX?
Absolutely. We're studying 4 different scenarios to bring rail to LAX. I prefer at this point, though, we're studying something called LAX Connect that Councilmember Mike Bonner and I are working on. That would allow you to drive close to the airport or take the rail, the Crenshaw line, close to the airport, and then get on a people mover that was every 2 minutes, would take you to every single terminal. We're still studying putting rail right into LAX, but the problem is you can only really do 1 stop there, maybe 2. And so what I call the schlep factor of actually taking the luggage and going from the middle of the airport over to Terminal 1, 8, Tom Bradley, that's a long walk. So I think the people mover is the most effective, most convenient way to do that.
Do you think the Crenshaw line is the best line to deliver passengers when studies have shown that most people, maybe workers, might be taking the Crenshaw line, but not so much passengers? Yes,
I think the Crenshaw line coming into that people mover location, that also allows people to come from other ways, through flyaway, through buses, through parking there, by the car rental, is probably the best way to get people from 4 or 5 different ways to get to a people mover that will efficiently, quickly, conveniently get you to your plane.
All right, let's get to our next question. This is from Rodney Brodus, Baldwin Hills. Is there a city, county, or state statute dealing with secondhand marijuana smoke in apartment buildings? If not, why not? Landlords and owners of buildings have no guidance about this matter, and I do not know how to deal with the situation. Tenants are hiding behind the guise of medicinal purposes. I have the right to a smoke-free environment, be it from cigarettes or marijuana.
You do, Rodney. Unfortunately, there is not law yet in private homes or in apartments, though there is legislation that is looking at the possibility of that, especially where we have rent-stabilized apartments. In public housing, we do, and we've been able to put those laws in place. But we are working right now with the County of Los Angeles, the Health Department, to look at those, to try to create a nexus, because you need a study to show the impact of that. But you shouldn't have to be in your home taking secondhand smoke, whether it's cigarettes or marijuana. So we're going to look if we can work with the county to address that.
At this point, though, under the law, if someone designates an area non-smoking, does that also apply to marijuana?
Yes, it does. So in public spaces, absolutely. And we also looked at e-cigarettes.
Or in apartment buildings, that might be
if it's public housing, but because it's private there, the same thing doesn't apply. You can't have a smoke-free area. though we see the drifting of that into public spaces, and oftentimes we can cite folks who are smoking, and that's going to public spaces.
All right, let's get to a final question if we can. Matthew Rutledge of Lakewood says, when will Clifton's Cafeteria be reopening? Clifton's Cafeteria is located at 648 South Broadway.
Indeed it is. Thank you, Matthew. We expect it to be open this summer. We have a great guy who redid the Edison downtown, which is a wonderful bar, old power plant, right by City Hall, who's actually doing Clifton's, Andrew Marion. And we're told it's going to be the beginning of the summer. It should be fabulous. These LA landmarks, whether it's Philippe's or Clifton's, some of the things that have been brought back. It's nice to see a city moving forward, but remembering its past and holding on to as much of that as possible.
Well, Broadway, South Broadway in particular, the Ace Hotel, some of the other areas down there.
Downtown is probably the #1 neighborhood in the country right now. National media is writing about it. It's exciting to see all these neighborhoods that are popping up from the valley to the harbor to downtown to the west side, really beginning to show LA's best days are still ahead.
All right, Mr. Mayor, we're out of time. We'll see you again on our next program.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
All right. Thank you, and Eyewitness Newsmakers will be right back.
You're watching Eyewitness Newsmakers.
Thank you for joining us this morning for Eyewitness Newsmakers. If you have comments about this program, we invite you to please join the conversation on Twitter at ABC7 Newsmakers. For all of us at Eyewitness News, I'm Adrienne Alpert. Thanks for watching.